Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Learned the Clone Secret in the beginning. Remember to get this on the 300 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also stay in tune for What If Naruto got his memory sealed away. And later on over on Anime King, I'm going to be posting a brand new episode of What If Naruto was given a second chance. So stay tuned for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto was the Otsutsuki King. So stay tuned for that as well guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So the last spot we left off, Haku should have killed Naruto because he was one of the Konoha ninjas, but she just couldn't. As she reached down and shook him awake, waking up Naruto was surprised. Angel, that was the first word he said. As she blushed, the both of them started to talk, as Haku knew that she had to get information on the enemy. But playing with someone's heart, it was very hard to do, and she didn't like it one bit. In the end, Naruto asked if they could meet again here. And also she tried to lie to him and tell him that she was a boy, but it was a lie, as she was wearing bracers, so that it wouldn't show off her womanly figure. Seeing that here, being a woman, most people see her as weak and try to take advantage, while mostly Gato and his scums, but it's not like they could touch her. So the next morning, Naruto prepared breakfast. As Haku was getting ready to leave, she wasn't wearing her chest bindings or anything. She was even putting on lipstick. It was strange. Why was she doing all of this? Well, she needed to get information. As she and Naruto met up, the both of them had a wonderful talk and got to know each other. She even asked him about his team and his squad and everything, as things was going really well. As Haku didn't know why she told this boy, but she told him about her life and about her father who tried to kill her and kill her mother. As the both of them sit there in silence, he just held on to her. As she cried, she apologized, but he told her that it was okay. As it was really strange, she was getting rather comfortable with this boy. When she told Zabuza about this, he didn't really understand. He had that faraway look in his eyes. But Naruto, he just understand her. We then had a time skip for the next 3 days, as Naruto helped Sasuke with his tree climbing, as Sasuke was getting very well, able to fight on a vertical surface. As Naruto and Haku met up for the rest of the time, Sakura still didn't want to work, thinking that she would look rather too manly if she trained too hard. So Kakashi and Naruto just gave up. As Zabuza found out, as he told Haku that he don't mind her meeting with the kid, but when the time comes for her to do her work, she must not stutter or hold back, as she nodded in understanding. The last night that Naruto and Haku met up, Haku wanted to tell him as she stuttered. As Naruto finished for her, she was surprised that he knew, even though he was holding her. She knew that he would never hurt her. As he decided to tell her something as well, as he told her the night when the Kyuubi attacked. The next morning, the bridge was filled of mist as the group was there. As Gozu, the demon brothers were there as well. As Zabuza arrived along with Haku, as Naruto and Haku walked away. Despite the situation, they had to fight. As Kakashi went off to take on Zabuza, and Sasuke went off to take the demon brothers. So yeah guys, that was basically the last point we left off. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So, what is to begin this new episode? Haku and Naruto were clashing against each other, using their speed to dodge around each other's attacks. Naruto would come in with powerful and unpredictable combination, while Haku used her speed to either dodge or redirect the attacks, as she came with her Senbon to hit vital points. But Naruto was able to redirect all of them, He has been training with Lee and Anko after all. The two seem to be evenly matched though, but Haku had an advantage over speed and more experience. But Naruto was stronger, and he had an unpredictable style that Haku could not follow, and he had better reflex. The battle looked almost like a dance as the both of them clashed, as they had even number of bruises and tears on their clothes, but they still continued to clash. As the two then jumped back, it felt like the battle had been going on for an hour, but it had just been a couple of minutes. Damn, you're really good, Haku-chan, Naruto said. Thank you, I learned from the best, she said, as she held up her Senbon ready to attack. Yeah, it seems like no eyebrow. Naruto stopped as he looked out in the forest. Haku used his chance as she rushed towards him, as she sent a kick right towards him, as he was barely able to dodge, jumping back just in time. You shouldn't take your eyes off your opponents, Naruto-kun, she said, as she tossed a few Senbons at him, as Naruto pulled a kunai and blocked all of them, as he threw the kunai at Haku, who catch it as she threw it back, forcing him to dodge. Sorry, my clones just dispelled. It seems like your midget of an employer sent some goons to capture Inari and Tsunami. Haku frowned as she wondered what Gato was thinking. That wasn't a part of the plan. Her thoughts were cut off as Naruto lashed out a kick at her, forcing her to jump back. He then sunshin right behind her. She didn't have time to react as he kicked her in the back, making her roll over. Coming up, she saw Naruto coming down at her. She blocked his right fist and redirected the attack away from her face, as she brought up her leg, but Naruto grabbed it. But she then hooked his other leg with her own leg and pulled him down. She flipped him over as she was now on top of him, as she aimed the Senbon going right down to his neck, but Naruto grabbed her wrist as he turned the Senbon away, as he used his strength and pulled himself off the ground along with her, as he knocked her back as he threw 3 kunais, as he went through hand signs and multiplied, as Haku went through hand sign as well, as she managed to create an ice mirror in a second, as she stepped right in it. The moment she did, it melted before the kunais could hit it, as Naruto grabbed another kunai before spinning around as he blocked Haku's Senbons, as the two pushed at each other for a moment. It seems that we're fairly evenly matched, said Naruto, as he pushed against her Senbon, as she slid back a bit, as he knew in contest of physical strength he was the strongest. It would appear so, but I have the advantage, she said, as she doesn't seem concerned that Naruto's pushing her back. Oh, really, said Naruto. Yes, she said. The first thing is we are surrounded by water, and the second thing is you can only use one hand. As she was still clashing with her other hand, as she freed her other hand, as she went through one-handed hand signs, death by 1,000 flying water needles, as she stomped on the ground as the water shoot up, as all of them turned to small ice needles that shoot towards Naruto, as Naruto quickly sunshin away from there, as he reappeared behind her, as he lashed out with a kick, but Haku spun around as he swatted his leg away and stick several Senbon into his joints. Hissing in pain, Naruto jumped back. Damn, that hurts, he said, as he ripped the Senbon out. That is a low blow, Haku-chan, Naruto said. So he's attacking someone from behind, said Haku. Touche, he said. Well, since we're using jutsu now, allow me to show you one of mine. Wind style. Wind Senbons, he said, as several dozen wind Senbons were created as they shoot towards Haku, as they continued to clash with attacks after attacks. Meanwhile that was going on, Kakashi was clashing against Zabuza, as Kakashi drive his kunai right through Zabuza, but Zabuza burst into water. As Kakashi looked around, the mist was still thick. Kakashi knew that if he did not end it soon, he would be in real trouble. Getting tired, are we? Kakashi asked Zabuza. Not at all, said Kakashi. Well, that was a lie. In truth, he was getting really tired. We both know this battle is over. Even if you could hold out, your brats won't last much longer, said Zabuza. You can keep thinking that if you want, said Kakashi. I'm the mist. But he could not see through it no matter what. It was too thick for a Sharingan. Well, it doesn't matter. It seems like you forgot one important fact. And what is that, Kakashi asked. My mission, said Zabuza. Mission? Kakashi was slightly confused. Before his eyes went wide, the bridge builder. Meanwhile, with Sakura. Sakura's entire body was shaking as she was in front of Tazuna. She had a kunai drawn. Just because she could not see the battles, she could still hear them. Grunts, screams, metal hitting metal. She was frightened. This is all too much, she said, as her eyes were looking around frantically, trying their best to protect Tazuna. I feel out of my league, like I would die at any moment. On top of that, Sasuke and Naruto are fighting out there, and I'm just here doing nothing. She was so worried. She never noticed Zabuza appear behind her and Tazuna until it was too late. Zabuza pulled his blade from behind him. The both of them heard the sound as they spin around their head to see Zabuza. As the giant blade was about to cleave them into two, Zabuza saw Kakashi flash there. Too late, Zabuza roared as he came down his blade. Kakashi's eyes widened as the blade came down. There was a splash of blood, as Sakura screamed. Meanwhile, Sasuke stumbled back as he got another fist from Gozo in the face. As his clothes were ragged, he had cuts on his body. It seemed that they had been torn with him. He was holding his own and even holding them off, but they seemed to have turned up the heat. Now they were nearly twice as fast, twice as vicious, turning Sasuke into a rag doll. As Sasuke jumped out of the way from Miyaizu's attack, but as soon as he landed, Gozo appeared behind him. The moment Sasuke turned, he had to duck, but then Miyaizu appeared and fisted him right in the face. Damn it, Sasuke said as he was pushed back once more. Gozo then came at Sasuke with a smirk on his face, but Sasuke was ready as he jumped over the claw and smashed his foot into Gozo's face. As he landed, he had no time to celebrate. As Miyaizu came at him, he had to duck. I gotta concentrate, Sasuke thought. If I can just see their movements and predict where they're going to be next. As Sasuke started to focus as Miyaizu came at him, something was strange. He was seeing movements rather clearly from the small twitches that the Chunin made. Sasuke also noticed a fault in the man's attack. As he waited, Miyaizu lashed out at him with a claw. As Sasuke got right under it and swiped his kunai as Miyaizu had to jump away. As he looked down and saw a cut on his torso. It was only for a moment, Sasuke said, holding his kunai, but I managed to see his move. I'm getting better at this. You alright, brother? Gozu asked. Miyaizu nodded. Yeah, I'm fine. Come on, let's both go. The both of them flashed towards Sasuke. Sasuke was able to dodge each of their attacks as he flipped away. Damn it. Is it me or is this kid getting better? Miyaizu asked. I think you're right, something is wrong. As Sasuke flipped away and landed gently, he had a smirk on his face. I can see their movements now. Hey brother, did you get him? No, I don't think so. But his eyes are bleeding, said Miyaizu. I'm bleeding, Sasuke said. But my eyes don't feel like they're bleeding. Unless... He looked over to the puddle as a smirk came on Sasuke's face. Looking back at him was a Sharingan. Back with Naruto and Haku, the both of them were ripped up kind of badly. As, even with Naruto's incredible stamina, they'd been going at this for a while now and he was getting tired. Haku then noticed Naruto got distracted as she took this as her chance and rushed towards him. As she struck him right in the stomach, pushing him back. Naruto flipped and landed. It's not wise for you to get distracted, Naruto-kun, she said. Sorry, but it's not every day I see a beautiful sight like that, he said. Haku then looked down and noticed her chest bindings were ripped, and there was a rip in her kimono, showing the lower part of her left breast. She looked over at Naruto. Pervert, she said. Hey, I'm not, Naruto said. I just said that it was distracting. And by the way, I thought we already established your beauty when we first met, Angel, he said. Haku blushed a bit, but she shook it off with a small smile. Only you can say that in the midst of a battle, Naruto-kun, she said. I figured that much. It's just because I'm awesome like that, he said. As they ran at each other again and started to clash, Haku jumped back as she went through hand sign. Secret technique, ice mist, as she blew mist from her mouth. As Naruto noticed the water molecules were freezing everywhere, realized that if he get caught in that, he would get a terrible case of frostbite. As he substituted with a clone that he had made earlier, the moment the mist took over, the clone got frozen. As Haku ended the mist, she walked over to the now frozen Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I did not want to do this to you, she said. Oh, that's alright. Haku's eyes widened as she received a fist to the face that knocked her back to the ground. She got up and threw more senbons, but Naruto vanished. He reappeared behind her and knocked her back down to the ground. As Haku looked up at him, she wiped away the blood from her mouth. You really are strong, Naruto, she said. But that only means, as she flipped and landed on her feet, I have to use my secret technique on you. Demonic ice mirrors. Naruto watched as he became surrounded by a dome of ice mirrors. Looking around at all the mirrors, he saw Haku's image in all of them. Well shit, he said. This is the end. Forgive me, Naruto-kun, she said, as all of them pulled senbons. As Naruto was assaulted by senbons from every angle, Naruto collapsed down. What the hell? Are these copies of herself that are attacking me? Or is this just her speed technique? As Naruto pulled out the senbons out of him, as they dropped on the ground with blood on them. As he saw Haku reappear. Please, surrender, Naruto-kun, she said. I don't want to kill you, she begged. I don't want you to kill me either, Haku. But I can't, let Tazuna die. So I can't give up, he said. Release! Several seals came over Naruto's body before breaking. Not that you could see them because of the genjutsu that he placed on himself. This should help, he said, as he moved on his arms, feeling a lot lighter. As Haku looked at him, something changed, as Naruto raised his foot to step away. But Haku then watched him vanish. Back with Sasuke, Gozu was coming at him hard, as he was intent to thrust his claw hand right into Sasuke's face. But Sasuke redirected the attack and bent his hand. Sasuke then delivered a powerful kick to his face. The way his claws were set, his face was sent spiraling down right on his claws. As it hit with a thud, the claws tearing through his face. As his body collapsed on the ground. Brother, said Miyaizo, as he looked at Sasuke. I'll kill you, he said. Miyaizo moved off with incredible speed as he thrust his claw right towards Sasuke's throat. But Sasuke's eyes, he reacted on instinct as he redirected the hand as he pulled a kunai as he drive it right into Miyaizo's neck, killing him. But Miyaizo was already going with the momentum as his head smashed into Sasuke. As Sasuke's body was sent flying back as his head hit the pavement, knocking him out cold as Miyaizo's body dropped on him. Meanwhile, Haku had to run back in a mirror as Naruto landed. I figure out your jutsu, Haku, Naruto said. As Haku reappeared, you're not using clones or any kind of illusion. You're bouncing from mirror to mirror using the high speeds that it affords you so no one can follow. The copies in the other mirror are simply the light reflected off of it. So long as I can see you when the reflection disappears, there's no way you can hit me. Haku was shocked. It has only been 5 minutes and yet he figured out her attack. But she didn't let it show on her face. That is really impressive, Naruto-kun, she said. No one has ever been able to figure out my jutsu, and even Zabuza has trouble with it. We don't have to fight anymore, you know, said Naruto. Please surrender, I don't want to fight you anymore. I can't, said Haku. I have to fight you to protect my precious people. As she dashed out of her ice mirror, coming towards Naruto. Naruto sidestepped her attack, as he tossed a kunai at her, as it sliced her across the shoulder. Gasping in surprise and pain, she tried to go back into her mirror. But Naruto was just too fast, appearing in front of her and Shin, as he smashed his enhanced fist in her face. Unable to maintain the ice mirrors any longer, they exploded apart, as Haku was sent skidding away as she landed right on her stomach. As Naruto made his way over there. Just give up, he said. It's over. You beat me, she said, looking up at him in surprise. You can't fight anymore. We don't have to fight anymore, he said, as he went on his knees right beside her. You're right, I can't fight anymore. My purpose as a tool is now finished. You have beaten me. Can you do me a favor, she asked. What is it, he said. Can you please kill me? Naruto's eyes went wide. What? Meanwhile, Kakashi was bleeding as a large cut was across his chest. It's over, Kakashi, just give up, said Zabuza, his voice echoing through the mist. Yeah, you're right, it's over. Huh? Don't tell me you have something else up your sleeve. Can't you see that you've lost? Well, I've realized something. If you can't use your eyes, then use your nose. Ninja art, earth release. Tracking Fang technique, said Kakashi, slamming his hand on the ground as the ground started to tear up as Zabuza was in the mist. And what is that supposed to do? You can't find me, Kakashi, said Zabuza, his voice echoing everywhere. I already told you. If you can't use your eyes, use your nose. It was like something was traveling under the ground as the ground was being ripped apart. As there was a cry of pain as the mist started to clear up. When the mist cleared away, it showed Zabuza with several dogs latched onto him, their fangs deep in his flesh. That is what happened when you use your nose. This summoning is specifically made to track down your opponent. I let you cut me on purpose so my blood can get on your weapons. And these are my little ninja dogs. Their smells exceed of all other dogs. As Kakashi closed back his one normal eye, the mist has cleared now, and you know what I see. A Sharingan flaring. I see your death. You went too far, Zabuza. Your ambition was too great. You abandoned your country, you became a missing ninja. Your story even reached Konoha. Your attempted coup d'etat and your attempted assassination of Mizukage failed. You were forced to flee the country and become a missing ninja with what little followers you have. In order for you to try again, you would need money. So you end up working for scum like Gato. As Kakashi went through several hand signs before putting one of his hand down to the ground, the other one holding it. I won't end this with someone else's jutsu. No, you're gonna get a taste of my own jutsu. As lightning started cracking dangerously around Kakashi's hand, as a bead of sweat ran down Zabuza's face. It's so powerful I can see the visible chakra in his hand, as Zabuza was starting to get worried. The person you're trying to kill is this small village, Courage, and I can't tell you to do that. I don't give a damn about other people. I have my own ideals, my own future to fight for, and that is why you will die, said Kakashi, his Sharingan eye blazing. Meanwhile, what the hell are you talking about? Why do you think I can kill you? Why do you think I would ever kill you, Naruto asks. I am nothing more than a tool, Naruto-kun, Haku said, releasing herself from Naruto's grip as she stands on wobbly legs. Naruto was too stunned to do anything else than just sit there. I am a tool that has now been broken. I can no longer help Zabuza-sama fulfill his dream. That is why you must. Shut up, Naruto shouted as he gave her a rather angry glare. How dare you say something like that? If you're nothing more than a tool, then all those time we spent together, what did that mean? Was that a lie? Or you tell me that you didn't even care for me one bit? Tell me that you weren't simply using me to help Zabuza, Naruto said, as his shoulders slumped down. Haku's eyes widened in shock. No, she said, she took a step forward. Everything I said was true. I love being with you every minute we were together. I felt safe. I even went against Zabuza when he voiced his opinion of not seeing you anymore. So then you're not a tool, Naruto said, because tools aren't supposed to feel anything for their enemy. And tools aren't supposed to aim for non-vital points that will only knock the enemy out. Haku's eyes widened as she realized he knew she wasn't aiming to kill him at all. And she knew that he was holding back a lot as well. You are not a tool, never say that about yourself, Naruto said. You're a ninja. But my purpose, she said, as Naruto cut her off. If Zabuza can't see the value of having someone like you, who will go through the greatest lengths to protect him, and help him in every way, then he doesn't deserve you one bit. If he can't see what's right in front of him, then it's better off you leave. But Naruto cut her off again. You don't have to be his tool anymore. You can come with me. I will never treat you like a tool, Naruto said, despite only meeting you for this past week. You're one of my precious person. Haku was surprised. No one has ever told her that before, ever since her parents died. Haku was unsure what to do. She wanted to go with him, someone who understands her pain better than anyone else. But at the same time, Zabuza-sama gave her purpose. What should I do, she thought. Naruto held out his hand. Haku, you hate killing. You hate all this running up and down. Just come with me, he said. She reached out her hand, but she didn't stop, sensing that Zabuza was in trouble. I'm sorry, Naruto, she said. I would love to go with you. But I seem to have one more purpose, she said. But no, even if I can't go, the time that we spent together, I will always love you, she said, as she vanished in a burst of speed, as Naruto cried out her name. Meanwhile, Zabuza shut his eyes as Kakashi was coming in with the lightning blade, but he felt no pain. It was like time froze as he slowly opened his eyes to see. Blood splattered on him. Kakashi had blood splattered on his face as well, because in front of Zabuza was Haku. Kakashi's hand had ripped a hole right in her chest. Even Zabuza was surprised. He knew that the girl was devoted to him. He was the one to save her and take her away from that hellish place. But he never expected her to go this far. He was so surprised he couldn't even use his distracted state to kill Kakashi. No, 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 everyone heard as they saw Naruto rushed over. Pulling Kakashi's arm out of her chest, he placed Haku on the ground. No, Haku, wake up! Wake up, Naruto screamed. Come on, you need to wake up. Please, wake up, he said, his voice choking up. Come on, you can't leave me, he said, as he looked into her eyes to see them dull and lifeless. No, 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 Naruto says. He kept on crying. He held onto her body as he held her tight. This wasn't supposed to happen. Why? Why, he said. He couldn't feel that warm anymore. Only thing he felt was that cold, dead feeling. as he was shaking uncontrollably. Naruto, Sakura said, as he was unsure what to make out of this. Seeing the sight of him crying like that. Even though Haku was no longer alive, he kept on whispering apologies after apologies. Because the mist was clear now, she looked around and she saw. Her eyes widened and she rushed over. Sasuke-kun, she said. As she noticed Sasuke was under the body of one of the demon brothers, she pushed him off. As she saw Sasuke was unconscious, as Zabuza and Kakashi looked at each other, seeing no point of fighting anymore. As there was nothing but Naruto crying went through the area. The both of them gave each other a silent nod. They then heard a mad chuckle as they turned to see Zabuza with a lot of thugs behind him. Look at you, Zabuza, all beaten up and got your ass handed to you by a bunch of brats and a scarecrow. As he was pretty confident now, he saw that the battle was ended. Zabuza was weakened and the Konoha ninjas were weakened as well. And he had a large crew. They were nothing. Zabuza growled he was already pissed at the death of Haku. He did not want to deal with this fat, short, greedy midget. What do you want? Such a temper. You see, there's been a change of plans. Missing ninjas like yourself are too much to pay. But I never actually wanted to pay you. I was just going to get rid of you. After you did your job and you're weak, for my man to get rid of you. But seeing that you're no longer a part of a village, no one will come after me after I kill you. I can even turn in your body for a bonus. As Gato chuckled to himself. I see, so that was how you always wanted to do this. Of course, Gato said that smirk. Huh, demon of the mist? More like a puppy of the hidden mist. You're completely worthless now. I doubt you can even take down one of my boys here. Kakashi, it looks like our battle is truly over, said Zabuza as he pulled his blade. It does seem that way, said Kakashi as he pulled a kunai. He did not know how many he could take out, as he was exhausted, but he would not go down without a fight. As Gato looked over, so the kid died. Too bad, I was hoping to kill him myself. As Kakashi and Zabuza could feel a killing intent rising. Hey kid, said Gato, I don't know what kind of gay circus is. Wait a minute, hold on. Gato was surprised, as he saw Haku. Despite the blood and Naruto holding on to her. What? He is actually a she? Well, now I'm really depressed that she's actually dead. I could have made quite the killing after I made her my little bitch. But she's quite the looker. I'll probably give her over to my boy so they can have some fun before she starts to rot. So why don't you be a good little boy and hand the bitch body over to me? This man, he was the reason why she was dead in the first place. For hiring Zabuza and Haku for this job. Haku would have never come here, or faced him in battle, or gotten a hit. With his sensei's technique, in Naruto's mind everything was his fault. Kill them all. Naruto blinked when he heard the voice in his mind. It sounded weird, like two people were speaking at once, but he could not tell who. That man is the reason she's dead. Kill them all. Hey, said Gato, as he stopped a distance away. He didn't want to get too close to Kakashi or Zabuza. Are you deaf, you little brat? Kill him. Naruto's soul lifted up his head as Gato stepped back. As he looked into the eyes of the devil, they were no longer blue and calm. They were fluctuating red, with black slits in them, as they were pouring with so much rage and anger. You, Naruto said, its voice sounded like a growl coming out. This is all your fault. Because of you, she's dead. And now you want to desecrate her body. It's because of you. As the ground started to crack under Naruto, a wave of bloodlust and killing intent exploded from Naruto, breaking the bridge. As he started to crack everywhere, Gato started to back away in fear as he went behind his man. As red energy exploded out of Naruto and went straight up in the sky, as he started to dance around him in a violent manner, like that's a will of his own, as the energy took the shape of a fox head, glaring down at them dangerously. Kakashi had to jump away from Naruto, a seal breaking his head, as his skin felt like it was melting being so near to Naruto, the violent, red, corrosive energy. What is he, Zabuza asked as he was forced to jump away as well, as his skin felt like it was going to burn off, as the bloodlust was too much. Sakura, who was trying to wake up Sasuke, had passed out and collapsed right on top of him. Kazuna was on his hands and knees, breathing heavily as he was unable to move. Few of the weaker thugs had already passed out. As for Gato, the man had fallen on his ass, his entire body shaking, uncontrollable. He had already lost all motor functions and already released his bowels. The killing intent was just so potent and deadly. As Gato was seen, him getting ripped apart several times over, as fangs extended from Naruto's mouth, as his claws extended, his whisker mark became thick. As Naruto placed Haku down on the ground, closing her eyes, as he moved forward, as Naruto took one step forward, and then disappeared. He reappeared in front of one of the thugs. The man was caught off guard, he couldn't even move, as Naruto drove his hand right through the man's neck. With his hand covered by the energy, it ripped right through, burning the side remaining parts, as the man's head fall off. As Naruto then leaped forward and jammed right into one of the thugs' chest cavity, and ripped the man apart with his bare hands. Blood splashed all over him, but he was burned off by the Kyuubi's yokai. The sounds of scream filled the ear as Naruto started to rip off legs, arms, head, tear through throats, rip out hearts. He was behaving like a wild animal, tearing through them. The man started to shit themselves, most of them. Some of them collapsed on the ground begging for mercy, as Naruto raised his foot over one of their heads and squashed down on it like a balloon, ripping through more throats and hearts. Gato was just there in shock. He was shaking uncontrollably. He had already wet his pants. He even shit himself. He couldn't move. Please spare me, he said. I'll give you anything you want. Just let me go. As Naruto stepped forward, his face looking down at Gato. Anything, he asked. Yes, anything, said Gato. Money, wealth, power, woman, anything at all. Very well then. Naruto pointed over to Haku's body. Bring her back alive. Gato's eyes widened. I can't do that. Huh. A pity, Naruto said. As he grabbed Gato by the throat and lifted him up off the ground, Gato started screaming out in pain and agony as he tried to remove the hand. As he continued to beg and plead. I can give you anything, please don't kill me. The only thing I want is your death. As Naruto grabbed Gato by the face, Gato started to scream out in pain and agony as Naruto chakra hand started to melt his face like wax until he squeezed it as Gato's head exploded. As Naruto dropped the body, dropping towards his knees, he released a final roar that echoed through the entire area as it released a potent of bloodlust as the red chakra exploded upwards, leaving his body as he dropped down on both hands and knees. Naruto blinked a few times, his eyes returned back to normal. His fangs, his claws went away. His mind was fresh with everything that he just did, looking back at all the blood and everything. As the puke just came up right to his mouth, as he started to barf off the bridge. He's a demon. He's nothing but the Kyuubi. Don't go near that boy. Naruto started to hyperventilate, as he started to see the people of his village pointing at him with disgrace and running away from him. He tried to ignore them, but they were just too much. I'm a monster, he said. He felt a hand on his shoulder. As he turned, Kakashi, are the villagers right? I'm really a demon, he said. Kakashi shook his head. You're no demon, Naruto. You are a shinobi. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. A shinobi? Yes, said Kakashi with a nod. But I tore through those people like they were just paper. How could I be anything else but a monster? As a shinobi, you will always call to do things that you don't like. Things that maybe seem like a monster to civilians. This is the world we live in. It is the same for me, Zabuza, and his partner. Naruto looked over. As Naruto walked over, not saying anything else, collapsed on his knees right over Haku. He's not gonna do well after this. I'll definitely have to talk to the Hokage and uncle. As Naruto picked up Haku and started to walk off the bridge, as Zabuza just looked at him. Meanwhile, the crowd that in area had gathered, they had to part. As Naruto walked through the middle of the crowd, everyone looking at him as he had the dead body of Haku in his arms. Several hours later, Naruto was looking down at the grave that he made for Haku. It was where they first met, where he woke up and thought that she was an angel. As he used a kunai and carved her name in the stone, as a tombstone there. As Naruto reached her on his neck, with a green crystal that was shining, it looked like a snowflake. Haku had gave it to him on their last night when he told her that he was the demon of the village, where she insisted that he was nothing of the sorts. As he smiled to himself, remembering her telling him that he was no demon, he was a container that was protecting everyone else. Flashback, you're right. It doesn't matter what it takes. I'll become Hokage and make them change and understand who I really am. Haku smiled. You're really amazing, Naruto-kun, she said. As Naruto blushed. Well, I'm not really that special, he said. Haku smiled. You are just too modest to realize how amazing you are. As she reached down to her inner pocket, as she pulled out that green necklace that looked like a snowflake. My mother gave this to me. It was a family heirloom, she said. As she placed it in his hands and closed his fingers around it. I want you to have it. Naruto looked at her in shock. He shook his head no. I can't take something that important from you. Silly, you can't take something if it was given to you freely. I want you to have it. But I kinda feel bad, Naruto said. But I don't really have anything good value to give to you in return. I know one thing you can give me, she said, giving him a small blush. Oh really? What is? He couldn't get to finish a sentence, as she perched her lips against his. As Naruto became all red. Every nerve inside of him felt like they were hit with a lightning jutsu, causing him to go stiff. His entire body frozen up. As Haku break the kiss and look at him. You know, when someone kisses you, you're supposed to kiss back. Well you see, as he started to stutter, as Haku reached up hand and placed on his chin. Looks like this is something we're gonna have to work on, she said. As she pulled him close to her. Well, let's begin, she said. She started to kiss him again, feeling his lips move as well, as it made her giggle. End of the flashback. Naruto clenched the necklace in his hand. Even through everything that he has been through at Konoha, he never knew that there was something else worse than the loneliness of being alone. He never knew that it was this other pain that you can imagine and feel. This pain was beyond what he felt when he found out why he was so hated. It was breaking his heart. So this is where you've been, huh, brat? Said a voice. As Zabuza walked up to him. What do you want her to ask? His voice dull. The others are looking for you. Well, Kakashi and the people of the wave are. I think that pink-haired girl in Uchiha is still unconscious. As the both of them stood there for several minutes of silence, until Zabuza spoke, you know. When I found Haku, she was a scrawny little thing. I found her, huddling up under a bridge. People walking past her, ignoring her. I knew that if I had left her there, she'd have probably keeled over and died in a day or two. So I took her with me, and trained her to be my weapon. Naruto said nothing, but his fists were clenching so tight that blood was dropping on the grass. I trained her to be the best, and in many ways her combat ability had surpassed even mine. But the one thing she never lost was her pure heart. Haku hated killing in every form. Every time we go on a mission or do something, she always knocked the people out using Saint Bonds, hit them in pressure points. Yet for some reason, she stuck by me even when I killed. I always told her that her mercy was a weakness, but even that, she still didn't kill. Why are you telling me this, Naruto asked. Because kid, I have known Haku ever since she was little. I trained and raised her for a long time. I saw her grow into the person she was. I have seen her at her best and her worst. But in all the years I have known her, I have never seen her so happy than she had been in this past week. And that was because of you. This past week you made Haku happier than she has ever been. And for that I want to thank you. I don't deserve thanks, Naruto said. I betrayed her memory and killed those people on a rampage. As you said yourself, she hated killing. She wouldn't want me to do that. Kid, I think Haku would understand. And plus, I have done far worse than what you have done in my lifetime. And she accepts me. And from what I have seen in that last week, she wouldn't go against you. As the two of them looked at the grave for several moments. Kid, yeah, said Naruto. I want you to do me a favor. What kind of favor, Naruto asked. Well, two actually, said Zabuza. I see the same kindness and pure heart that Haku had in you. So I want you to keep her close to your heart. And never forget her. It doesn't matter, Naruto said. You didn't have to make the request. I would never forget her, Naruto said. And what's the other request? Well, that's simple. Find people who are important to you and protect them with everything you got. Haku always believed that true strength comes from protecting who is precious to you. I've become more inclined to believe her after today. I want you to find that strength. Something like that Haku cherished as well. I failed because I couldn't do that until it was too late. I was supposed to walk forward and stab his blade right into the ground as he walked off. But not before giving Naruto a last comment. My one regret was not telling Haku how much I loved her. She was a daughter that I never had. Do not make the same mistakes I did, or you will live a life of regret. And with that he left. Moments later, the door opened up to Tazuna's house. As Tsunami, Inere, Kakashi was sitting there, and surprisingly not reading his book. Naruto, he said as he stood up quickly. Are you alright? Yeah, Naruto said, looking down at the floor. I'm fine. Sorry for making you worry, he said. Kakashi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Listen, if you ever need to talk about anything. Thanks, Sensei. But I feel fine, really, Naruto said. Naruto! Said Inere as he rushed up to Naruto. Everyone's saying that you defeated Gato on the bridge. Is it true? Naruto put on a fake smile. The kid didn't need to know the gruesome details. Yeah, it's true, he said, ruffling Inere's hair. I told you that I would send him packing. Inere smiled. That's so cool, he said. I'm gonna train and get just as strong as you. Well, if you want to get as strong as I am, you need to remember something important. Oh, what is that? When a person has something important to protect, that is when they become truly strong. Remember that, he said. I will. As Naruto ruffled Inere hair one last time before looking up at Kakashi. So where's Sasuke and Sakura? Sasuke has a bit of concussion, so he's upstairs resting. And Sakura? Hey Sasuke-kun, let me fluff your pillow so you'll be more comfortable. Get away from me. Why won't you just leave me alone, said Sasuke. Wait, Sasuke-kun, Kakashi-sensei said you shouldn't be moving right now. Everyone in the room sweat dropped, as several bangs and screams could be heard. Well, maybe he's not getting as much rest as I thought, said Kakashi, as he heard Sasuke scream, get the hell away from me, you crazy bitch. Speaking of, you should probably get some rest too. The bridge won't be finished until next week, and we still have a job to do. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, Sensei, said Naruto, as he went upstairs. A week later, since the passing of Gato, and they didn't have to be that much secured about Tazuna's safety, but they did send someone every time. The training continued. Sakura was still unable to fight fully on the tree because of her low reserves, as Kakashi is teaching Sasuke water walking now, and also trying to help him with the Sharingan. As every chance Sasuke had now, he would flash his Sharingan. But for Naruto, it was extremely worse. He is pushing himself beyond anything he has ever done before. He really thought he failed to protect one of his precious people. He should have been able to move faster, do something else. But no, he was too weak, so he pushed himself beyond his limit. Instead of his normal 200 clones, he had started to push out 300s. To focus on his fighting style, increasing his Fuinjutsu. Probably that will give him an edge since Fuinjutsu was rarely used. As he pushed his physical training to another level, as he had quadrupled his training routine, he was so exhausted and sore that his clone had to carry him back to Tezuna's house. As everyone became worried when they saw a bloody beaten Naruto was being carried by one of his clones, but he told them that he will be fine. But he wasn't fine at all. Every time that he slowed down or stopped training, he started to think about the past week in Haku, and it felt like someone grabbed a kunai and just drive it right through his chest, and it teared through his heart. That is the reason why he trained himself into the ground every day. He didn't want to experience that pain. He just wanted to block it out. That pain was just too much for him to handle right now, so he kept on focused on his training. As Naruto also convinced Tazuna, with hundreds of his clones, they helped build an orphanage for the kids. As childrenless people came there and helped the kids as well. With the help of Naruto clone, the bridge was completed by the end of the week. As people here were staring at him as well, but it was not the same hateful glare. It was happy stares and smiling. The rumors went around that he destroyed Gato and freed them all. And the fangirls, yeah, he now understood what Sasuke went through in the academy. Flashback. As Naruto was walking back to Tezuna's house, alongside Kakashi, as he saw many people staring at him. Hey, is that who I think it is? Yeah, I heard he defeated Gato and all of his thugs single-handedly. Whoa. But he's so young. Who cares? He's so cute. Naruto was unsure how to deal with this in Konoha. When people usually whisper, they whisper a hateful thing, but now, excuse me? A girl said, snapping from his thoughts. As the tree turned to see, it was a group of girls looking at Naruto. They were around his age. A girl with black hair and green eyes asked, "Is it true that you're the one that defeated Gato?" she asked, the smile on her face. "Well, I had help," Naruto said, as the girls were looking at him like a piece of meat. "So it's true. You're so amazing. You're like a hero." As that broke the floodgates, every single girl crowded around him, asking if they can go out on a date. One of them even asked to touch his whiskers. It was fortunate that Kakashi and Tazuna were there to bail him out, grabbing him and running off. End of the flashback. "Thanks to you guys, we have finished building the bridge," said Tazuna as he had a hand on a crying Inari's head. "Do you really have to go so soon?" Inari asked. "Unfortunately, we have to. Report back to the Hokage." As Naruto went over to Inari, as he ruffled his hair, "Don't worry, we'll be back to visit sometime. Promise?" "Promise of a lifetime," Naruto said, as Naruto brought up his pinky, as Inari did the same thing. "It's okay to cry when you're happy, you know." And that made Inari burst, as he started to cry even more as he hugged Naruto. After breaking the hug, "We'll see you guys later," Naruto said. "Be sure to look after this place, okay?" "I promise," Inari said. "I'll make sure everyone is safe." "Well then," said Kakashi, "I guess this is goodbye." "Yeah," as everyone started to wave them off. "Hey, what should we name the bridge?" one of the men asked, as Gato put a hand to his chin. "Hey, I know," said Inari, making everyone look at him. "How about the Great Naruto Bridge?" That sounds like a wonderful name," said Tsunami. "So is everyone in agreement?" said Gato. "The Great Naruto Bridge it will be," as everyone shouted. "Yeah, the Great Naruto Bridge." But guys, it'll be ending this episode right here. If you want the next part of this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the bell notifications to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm over now. Stay tuned for the rest of the what is coming your way. I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto was a Sasuke King? And also, what if Naruto got his memory sealed away? And what if Naruto was given a second chance? So stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys enjoy each and every episode. But I'm over now. See you guys soon. Peace.